name is Xiomara, owner of LUXIE Beauty, and I am a Bay Area makeup artist specializing in weddings. Today I will be teaching you how to achieve a bronzy, glowy makeup look on my model Mary. We'll be using LUXIE's Expert Artist Kit, including a brush belt and their pouch that is also detachable. So starting off with the look, we're going to use LUXIE's 528 concealer brush, and it is a flat shape brush. I'm going to take some concealer to prime the eyes, and I'm just going to pat this into the eyelids, and we'll also bring it into the brows so it can act as a primer for our brow products as well. And I like to make sure to take the concealer all the way out, just to make sure that when we apply foundation, we have no empty space between the eyeshadow and the foundation. So starting off with the smaller detailed sponge, we're going to pat that in and make sure that it's evened out. And then using the LUXIE 215 small angled brush, we're going to dip into our brow product and outline her brows. I like using a shadow because it creates a softer finish to the brows. She has a great shape, so I'm just going to go ahead and follow the shape of her natural brow. We're going to take the LUXIE 201 brow and lash spoolie. Make sure we comb that. Now, still using our angled brush, we're going in with the brow pomade to really create more definition. So just following her brow shape and running that along the edge. And I love this angled brush because the angle and the flat edge really help to create a very crisp and sharp line for the brows. We're going to take it along the bottom and mainly focus this brow product on the outer corners because we want to create that gradient effect, so it starts off really soft and then it becomes a little darker on the outer corners. It's okay if it gets a little messy because then we'll go in with a concealer brush and really clean up those edges. Just going to make sure that we comb that into the brows. With the LUXIE 528 concealer brush, we're just going to really sharpen up the bottom part of the brows. Now, just taking your favorite setting powder, we're going to use the 522 Tapered highlight brush. We're going to take some setting powder and just set those eyelids to prep for eyeshadow. So now going into just any neutrals palette, I'm going to take the 205 Tapered blending brush, and I'm just going to grab a soft brown crease color and really just focus this in the crease. I'm going to take it and do a second layer, intensify that color. Now taking a darker brown, and I'm going to place this on the outer edge of the eye, but more along the lash line. And I love that this brush really helps to diffuse this color and really blend it out. Just keeping it along the lash line. So now taking a more precision brush, this is the LUXIE Flat Definer 221. So we're gonna go ahead and bring this in the lash line. Also do on this side. Take this into the inner corner. And to make that line more diffuse, we're gonna go back in with the 205 Tapered blending, just to make sure that we blend it into the eyeshadows that we've already added right before. Before I use it, I'm going to spray just a little bit, and I'm gonna take a lighter champagne gold color to add some brightness to the eyes. I love a short shader because it's easier to fit into the crease area and really create a more defined look. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with the LUXIE 219 eyeliner. We're gonna take the corner of her eye and kind of map out the edge of the liner towards her temple. I don't like to go to the eyebrow only because it kind of creates something a little too up. So just towards her temple. And you can see that it's created a very sharp line. Now taking a makeup wipe, we are just going to take this along the lower part of the eyes and then create that very sharp wing liner. So now going in with the LUXIE 532 Round Top Blender, I'm going to take some moisturizer, prep her skin, really moisturize her skin. Even if a client has oily skin, I never skip this step. And that way when the foundation goes on, it just sits nicely and wears nicely right on top. Now taking a face primer, so just something to control the oils on her T-zone. I'm going to work in sections for the foundation. So I'll start off around the left side of her face and the chin area. Push the foundation in. And now taking the blender, going to make sure that we push that also into the skin, and it creates a very nice luminous finish. Going in with the right side. Always be sure to drag the foundation down just to make sure there are no lines. So using our LUXIE 207 medium angled shading brush, we just want to bronze up the skin a little bit. Okay, so now going in with some cream contour, we're just going to run that along the outer perimeters of her face. And because the foundation brush already has some foundation on it, we'll be using that to blend it out. And it'll help to really blend everything out, make it look nice and seamless, so there are no harsh lines. And I also like to work this in sections. So now going in to this side, and I like to use a smaller angled brush for this because then I can really create a nice sharp line, and it'll avoid it from looking too messy because we want the contour to stay mainly in this specific area right underneath her cheekbones. Now going in with this side, I'm going to use this, bring it up to her temples, and as I'm placing it, I'm also kind of blending out the edges and going back in the foundation brush, blending that out. Blend it together, go along the areas we added the contour. I love this brush because it fits easily right into the nose, into these areas, and the lines won't look too thick. So I'll grab some product. I'll use the back of my hand just to remove the excess product. We don't like putting too much on the nose because then it might look too fake and it'll be harder to blend out. I'm gonna take that on the nose. I like to start off right underneath the brow bone and then bring it all the way down to the tip of her nose. And I create this line right here. Same for this line, this side. So going in with the foundation brush, blend it just a little bit. This will add a little foundation to the product. And now going in with the detailed sponge. And this sponge is perfect to get into those smaller areas and really help blend out the product. So when it comes to brightening up, first I like to take a concealer that's more of her foundation color and mainly place this right underneath her eye. Pretty much color correcting right now. And blend that in. And with this shade, I'm not as precise, but once we go into highlighting, we'll be using a brush to really map out where we're laying our concealers. I'm going to take a lighter foundation, and this one will focus right along where we placed our cream contour and really clean up the contour. And I love this brush because it creates such a tapered edge and it helps to really clean up the under eye. So if you wanted to fix your eyeliner, this is where you use concealer to really clean it up. And then using the edge of the brush to really clean up that concealer. Now I'm taking a concealer shade that's more of her skin color, and I'm just going to sharpen up the contour area. And it's okay to let the concealer set and wait to blend it out. And then using the tip of the brush, we're going to take the lighter concealer shade and bring it just in between the contour and then at the tip. You can always take some setting spray, spray it just to give a little extra moisture. This is the LUXIE 213 eyeshadow eye shading brush, and I love that this is very fluffy, but it's also flat, and it fits perfect for blending out concealer in their inner tear duct area. And then just to make sure everything is nice and melted together, we're gonna go in with a spray the face, and then taking the larger sponge, we're just going to make sure we push all that product in and make sure everything is nice and seamless, melted together. I know it's a lot of steps, but it helps to create a more natural finish for the skin. Okay, now going in with some powder. We're going to use the flat part of this sponge, and we're going to dip that part into the powder. First, we're going to take it along the nose, really bring that under the eye, and then we're going to take more powder and put it right along our eyeliner and set the under eye. We're going to do the same to this side, right along. And then using our 522 tapered highlight, we're going to dust that powder off. We're going to dust off that powder. And I'm not going to touch right under the under eye because we're going back in with the lower lash line to add some shadow. So we'll leave that there just to finish baking. So now for the lower lash line, we're gonna follow the same steps that we did with the crease. So first we're going to go in with a eyeshadow shade closer to our skin tone. And this is using the LUXIE 217 pencil brush. It's nice and pointed at the top, but it's perfect for that lower lash line and really blending out that eyeshadow. Going into this side. Then we're gonna go in with something a little deeper and take that right along the lash line and just build up the intensity. I'm doing the same to this side. I'm gonna go in with the medium shade, blend out that eyeshadow. Same to this side. Okay, so now we're going to brighten up that inner corner. We're going to use LUXIE 223 short shader brush. And I love that it's so short because it fits right into that inner tear duct. Really focus this in the inner corner. We're gonna spray the brush. We're gonna add just a little bit to the center of the lid. And then taking the small tapered blending brush 231, I'm gonna take that into the crease. Shadows. We'll also be touching up the brows. And right before I add the mascara, I'm going to go ahead and dust this powder underneath the eyes away. Because once we do lashes, we don't want any powder on the lashes. So while we let the glue dry, we'll go ahead and finish her face. We're going to go in with the Tapered Face 520. So I'm going in with a bronzer. We're almost contouring, but because it's a fluffier brush, it'll help to create a more diffused bronzer shade. as opposed to something super contoured. Doing the same to this side. Now with the blush, I like it to be a little more precise. So I'm going to take the 504 large angled Luxie brush. And I'm going to go in with a more peachy shade. Because it's that angled brush, it'll help me to bring the product up to this side. Smile. Drag the product up. And with the blush, I like to just add a little bit and tie that in with like the forehead area and along the nose. Just to add some color all around. But for this, I'll be using for highlight. So I'm gonna spray just a little bit. I'm going to go in with a highlight. I'm just going to run this along the high points of her cheeks. So it fits perfectly on this side. Maybe just a little bit on the forehead, along the bridge, and at the tip of her nose. For this portion, I'm going to take the small angle 215 brush. Once you flatten it out on your hand, it creates a very slim brush, so close your eyes. And I'm just going to run this along the lash line to hide that eyelash glue. This is still using the 215 small angle brush, just touching up the brows. Go ahead and spray. Now, one more time, we're gonna go back in with our sponge and really push all that product in, melt it together. I wanna avoid the highlighting areas because we don't want that product to spread out. To really outline her lip. I don't like to overline too much. Going in with a lip color. And I love to just clean up the lower lip liner. Makes like a very, we're going to use that to just blend that out. So there are no harsh lines. So this completes my bronzy glowy makeup look. I hope you all enjoyed. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Beauty by Xiomara, and LUXIE Beauty for more makeup tutorials using Luxie brushes.